Did any of you, for the past 2 days, we've asked people to answer 2 questions. What do you like most about your community? What would make it better? Did any of you participate in that? No? Okay, so you're fresh. Yeah. No preconceptions here. But this is a culmination of what we've been doing over the past 2 days, and we're calling it idea storming. And the idea is to think very expansively about how the library might serve your community, but to think out of the conventional ways that we tend to think about what libraries can do. So it's really tapping the power of suspending your judgment. As soon as you start to think, oh, the library can't do that, throw that away and let more ideas come in. And I'm going to give you some of the rules because we really want to just open the floodgates. There are rules. The top one is actually the hardest for people, to defer that judgment. Like, we can't afford it. That's not what we do. People would never go for that. Just throw that out of your mind. And the second one is really important. I encourage you to go for wild ideas. So if it seems completely wacky and your other brain is saying, oh, but that's too wacky, ignore that other brain and just throw out your wacky ideas. And then all of these other things, go for quantity. So we're looking for quantity. Don't worry about quality. Don't think about, is this practical or feasible? And then what we're going to do here is I've selected 2 or 3. We'll see how much energy and time we have, but 2 or 3 ideas that came up in the previous 2 days. And I'm going to put them up on the board, and I want you to look at that idea and start to dissect it. Instead of going immediately toward, well, what can the library do? And I'm intentionally selecting ideas that seem to have very little to do with the library. So we're going to start to dissect it. So what are the people's feelings about it? Why would people feel like they want or need this thing or this service? What's the essential experience that they think they might get out of this thing that they think will improve their community? And then we start to look at activities that are related to those emotions, those feelings, those desires for experience. And that's where you start to pull into, well, what might the library actually do? What kind of activities are within the scope of the library to meet that? Are you ready? Okay, let's get started. Okay, so our first challenge is, which one? Okay, and this is a real comment that came in. Person who really liked his community, but he would like to see more local retail develop. Okay, so. And I should say locally owned retail. Okay, I'm handing it over to my scribes. So what's behind? Why would somebody say, I love my community, but I want more locally owned retail? What's behind that? Feelings, emotions, desire for what? Community, a more sense of community. What else? Economic solvency, so more money stays in the community, generated in and stays in the community. Anything else? Sort of the emotional feeling of supporting a locally owned business? Anybody? Uniqueness, right, something you can't get at Walmart. Any other ideas? What might be behind a desire to have more locally owned business? More chances to shop. Okay. More choices. Yeah. Okay, I think we have a pretty good sense of sort of taking that idea apart. So now, looking at that, what are some things that the library might do to contribute to that sense of community, to help people start local businesses or develop their local businesses? A business incubator space. Yes, I actually know of libraries who've done that very successfully. Workshops on owning your own business. Yes, I like that. Any other ideas what the library might do? Okay, yes, hire or develop a librarian on staff to be dedicated to entrepreneurial support. Because, it's a matter of knowing some key resources and knowing what's possible. Embed yourself in the Chamber of Commerce, right? So get yourself out into the community that might be supporting development of local independent business. At least we didn't lose everything. Um, okay, these are really good. What about the community aspect? Is there something a library could do to foster the community coming together to help support development of local business? I love it. They could host a how-to fest to bring in people from the community with unique talents. Anything else? How would you bring community together? I'm a big fan of community members owning the programming or owning the idea. So how about starting some sort of a club, like I want to be an entrepreneur club, so that it's not all driven from the library. The library is providing and fostering, facilitating the space for it. Any other ideas here? Yeah, reach out to churches, community groups, let them know that this is important. This is something the community wants and you think would actually make the community better. So, how does that look? You feel like starting from what looked like sort of a remote thing, we can't really do much about that. There are actually quite a few things that the library might do. And I think by cultivating the beginnings of these things, it can tend to mushroom and take off and really evolve into something that does end up creating more locally owned business. And that increases pride in the community, so it can be a real ripple effect. Great. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Oh,
It's in real time. We'll just go there
yeah.
and pick our new category and off we go.
Okay, new category. Hopefully you can read my writing. Okay, we heard a couple variations on this in the community visioning. People love their community because they love the environment, and they want more hiking trails, more bike paths. And the library might look at that and go, "Well, we're not going to build bike paths for you." So let's start with the dissection. What's behind that desire? Physical fitness, absolutely. What else? Being in nature, yes. Being with other like minded people, so that social aspect to it. Development of tourism. Ooh, now we're connecting with that entrepreneurial spirit. That's good. Going back to the other, see it all builds. What else? Well, local assets. Okay. Yeah, so helping residents know what's there in their community and maybe even helping outsiders know what the value and assets of the community are. Reducing traffic, yay, yes. You can bike to work instead of driving. Well, and then there's that whole environmental aspect to it. It's just, yeah, the health and appreciating the environment. Okay, so given that that's what's kind of underlying this idea, what might the library actually do to support any or all of these?
We're actually doing this in the summer, and we partnered with our county parks. I'm going to give you the mic.
Oh, oh, that was it? Partnered with your county parks?
Yeah, because we're actually doing that.
Okay, okay. They're actually doing it and they're partnering with their county parks. And that's to develop programming?
Very cool.
Because sometimes parks or parks and rec type departments are trail builders. So they're the ones, yeah. That's cool. Partnering with other outdoor organizations like DNR or Nature Conservancy.
Every state has a Rails to Trails Council.
I didn't know that was in every state. Wow, every state has a Rails to Trails Council. That's fabulous.
And those people, if you're looking at grassroots development, that's the group you want to know.
Okay, apparently that's the group you want to know for grassroots development. And what would the library do with them? Because it sounds like they're already kind of got their own momentum.
What we're doing, speaking for myself, we have some.
Yeah, so the advantage to the library is getting into this network that apparently is working on all kinds of developments and can actually work with the library on particular developments. So that is a really powerful, and they know of other organizations in the region or the community or at different levels that might also be able to help participate in this. What else? Bike sharing and bike maintenance workshops, yes. Yeah, what kind of learning? Because the library is great about learning. What kind of learning is around this topic, this area? A naturalist, getting a naturalist, talk about the nature that they're going to encounter out on the hiking, biking trail. I think you were about to come up with something.
I was thinking hosting facilitated community conversations, so some of those partners could come together to talk about what do we want.
Great. Hosting facilitated conversations, community conversations, so that some of those partners can find each other and start to really plan what they could potentially do together. What else? It's a pretty good list. Organizing stewardship activities. Yeah, so yeah, it's one thing to ask for new trails, but how about maintaining the existing trails? And giving back to the ones you use. Yeah, I like it. So much the library can do. Partnering to sponsor hikes, right. Yeah, I think the more appreciation you have in the community of what they have, the more they're going to support getting more of it. Yeah. Ooh, okay. Highlight different historical sites or things that have happened in the community and maybe combine it with an audio tour. I like that. Yeah, the nature walk and the history walk, that could be really dynamic. And I think part of the thing is the more of these things you try that hopefully are fairly reasonable for the library to do, practical and feasible, the more you get community involved and they start owning more of it and bringing programming to you that they want to do. So I think this is great. I congratulate all of you. Yeah, I would. We could do one more, but I would warn you that it's a really challenging one. So if
What is it?
well, Uh, yeah, all you do is advance. Well, it's not written yet, but a lot of people who did the community visioning activity said, "Oh, I love my community because this, and this, but I wish it had more affordable housing." Yeah, okay. You want to do it? I feel like this is a hard one. I'm not even sure what how this will transpire, but okay. More affordable housing. Well, I mean, let's break it down. What's behind that? You want to? Oh, it would be less affordable that way. Sorry, we're going in the wrong direction. What's behind wanting more affordable housing? What was that? Yes, either retain your vibrant and diverse community or encourage a vibrant and diverse. Absolutely. What else? Okay, well, so that's getting down into the solutions, but networking with affordable housing organizations to see about the possibilities of including or acquiring more affordable housing in a community. But going back to still, what are the emotions around losing affordable housing? What are the? You want to stay where you live. Yes, I had one. Yeah. Well, you live in a lot of communities. I had one person who, what she loved about her community, or she did it through the eyes of a senior, and she loved where she lived, and she saw things changing and saw herself being completely displaced and losing her long history in the community. So there is a lot of emotion, attachment, feeling like you're part of the community, and suddenly it's slipping out from underneath you. Okay. Oh, yes. That's a really good point, and I heard that from a number of people here. They don't live in the community where they work, and largely because they can't afford it. And so you're kind of an outsider of the community where you spend most of your time working, and you don't have a political voice. So feeling like you don't have a voice in the community, or you're losing it because you're getting displaced from the community. Okay, are we ready to think about what the library might do around this issue? You're not going to build affordable housing, or I'd be really surprised if we got there, but what can the library do? Yeah. Yeah, community forum. I mean, I think that's really valuable because all the people who want to have a voice and maybe don't have a voice, especially if they don't live there because they've already been displaced. A survey of, oh, yeah, so that might be good. Yeah, a demographic survey to understand who does live in the community, what you might be losing in the community by forcing people out with unaffordable housing. Yeah.
Collecting stories and disseminating those video or in person or what have you.
I like that because that really illuminates the richness of the diverse community that otherwise is really hidden. Yeah.
So during times like elections, having a town hall, because it's a neutral, library's a neutral space, so if you have all the candidates there, maybe people who wouldn't maybe feel comfortable in a more formal town hall setting would be able to come to the library, and if that's a passion of theirs, they will be able to choose a candidate that supports that more easily.
That's wonderful. Yeah, the library is sort of a more neutral setting, and I feel like it's reasonable for the library to emphasize an issue. So if affordable housing isn't actually coming up, I think you can just slip that into the conversation so it gets heard.
I'm going to go very old school and say displays about alternative housing things being done around the country?
I think it's great to go old school. I mean, sometimes that's a really effective thing to do, and yeah, why not?
And so, how about embedding yourself with the government in some way so that you can tell the stories as you collect them and as you talk to people so that you're there to help convey information and make sure they hear the narrative that needs to be told?
That's really powerful. Embed yourself because other agencies, especially government, don't necessarily think about the library. And if you are the voice through which your community members can speak, that can be really powerful. Wow, you guys are doing amazingly well. What else? Yeah, I know, we solved it. Affordable housing across the country. It's within our grasp. Well, okay. Is that kind of a low-hanging fruit? Help promote the census? Yeah, that's true. And yeah, I think that's on a lot of library radars. Really important. Oh, connecting the census to the affordable house, that's a gem. Because yes, many libraries are promoting affordable housing or are promoting taking the census, but making that connection. Why? The whys.
This is totally kind of off of what you've talked about so far, but for people that are that work in the city but live outside of it, try to figure out less expensive ways for them to commute to the city and back.
So yeah, looking at less expensive ways to get into this place that you can't afford to live in, and maybe support networks for making that transportation easier. Good one.
So we just had a huge census fiasco. I'm not census, the taxes, and they raised them like 400% some places. So we sponsored legal aid partnered with them so people could come in and talk about that and how they could work with it. So some legal workshops and things like that might be useful.
Oh, I love that. Legal aid workshops to help people understand their options around enormous property tax hikes and other tax hikes. Wow. Well, I am really impressed. I thought that was a tough one. I thought that was going to be a stumper. So, wow. We even got a house illustration. So I hope this is a model for something it's a process and something you can take back to your library to tackle anything. Any challenge that comes up or you hear a community need that your first thought is, well, the library can't do anything about that, try this and see if you can kind of work around the back of it and come out with what the library actually can do, because you're a powerful community center.
Our city treasurer met at the library, and anybody who had back taxes could come and talk to him. It was a very neutral place. So he was able to work out, I think it was over 700 people's tax issues and work with them.
That's powerful. Fantastic. Okay. Well, I feel like I should give you all a round of applause.